Hey everyone, welcome back. So today, we're diving into a project that's making some huge promises about our digital future. It's called ENTIFY, and its goal? Well, it's nothing less than complete, total, individual sovereignty. So let's just kick things off with the big question that ENTIFY is asking all of us. What if you could actually unplug from big tech, from the big banks, from big government, like completely? It's a pretty wild thought, right? But that idea, that's the foundation for this whole thing. And there you have it. That's ENTIFY's answer, right there on the screen. This one sentence, that's their entire mission statement. And you can see it's not just about, a new gadget or a little more privacy. No, this is a fundamental claim about you owning your entire world, both digital and physical.
Okay, so what's the grand vision here? Let's peel back the first layer and take a look at the promise of what they're calling the sovereign network.
So the goal they've stated is to create a totally self-contained sovereign system. I mean, just picture it for a second. Your identity, your money, your tech, all of it inside this digital bubble that you and only you have the keys to. We're talking no third parties, no data harvesting, and absolutely no dependency on the infrastructure we all use today.
All right, that is a massive claim. So how on earth could something like that even work? Well, according to them, the whole system is built on what they call a trinity of technology, basically 3 key pieces of hardware. And here they are, the 3 pillars of the whole system. You've got a card that's your key, a phone that's your command center, and a private network that connects everything together. So let's break each one of these down. First up, the ENTIFY card. This thing is pitched as the master key to your entire life. It's meant to be your identity, your wallet, for regular money, crypto, even gold, and your certificate of ownership for physical stuff. But here's the really crucial part for security. The private key that controls everything, it's designed to never, ever touch the internet. It stays offline, period. Okay, next up is the ENTiPhone, and this really lays out what it's all about. It's basically being positioned as the anti-smartphone. On one side, you've got what we all have now, tons of data tracking, endless distractions, and total dependence on cell towers. But on the other side, you have the ENTiPhone's promise. 0 tracking, a super simple retro-style interface, and, this is key, an integrated radio, so it can connect to its own network. And that built-in radio is what brings us to the final piece of this hardware puzzle, the mesh network. The whole idea is that every single ENTiPhone acts like its own little mini tower, bouncing signals to other phones nearby. Put them all together, and you get this private, decentralized, encrypted grid for calls, messages, payments, all without needing the internet or any cell phone company. At all. All right, so we've got the hardware. Now, let's talk about how this trinity is supposed to build a totally new digital world around your identity and your data. So at the very heart of this new world is this concept called a proof of life claim. The easiest way to think about it is like a digital birth certificate that you create for yourself. It's a cryptographically signed statement that basically says, yep, I am a real, living, breathing human being. The whole point of this is to build a network where every single account is 100% verifiably human, which, if it works, would mean goodbye to bots and fake profiles. So you might be wondering, where does all your data actually live? Well, not on some central server owned by Google or Amazon, that's for sure. Instead, your information is encrypted, then it's shattered into a million tiny fragments, and then those fragments are scattered across the entire network of other users' devices. It's kind of like a digital jigsaw puzzle where no single person or company can ever have all the pieces. And that leads us to one of the biggest claims of the whole project. Because your data doesn't live in any one single place, they assert that it becomes completely sovereign. In other words, untouchable by corporations or governments. The ultimate endgame for all of this tech is something they're calling the Internet. Basically, a parallel internet. A new web built by its users, running on that private mesh technology we talked about, and populated only by verified human beings. The big promise here? An internet that's completely free from the control of big tech. Okay, so a new internet, a new identity, that's all pretty huge. But what about money? ENTiFY is also proposing a total reinvention of how we handle value, currency, and assets. First things first, let's get something straight about the ENT token. The creators are really clear on this point. This is not a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin that you speculate on. You're not supposed to trade it for profit. Its one and only job is verification. And this is exactly how that verification works.
It's a simple one-to-one deal. One EN token equals one verified quantity of actual physical gold. It's designed to be a stable store of value, totally separate from the currencies we use today. So think of it this way. In their system, gold is the money, and the token is just the digital receipt proving you own it.
Now, to manage all these assets, the plan is to create something called the allodial reserve. That word allodial is super important. It's an old legal term that means absolute, true ownership. So this would be a totally new kind of financial system for things like loans and currency conversion, but it's all built on the principle of owning real assets, not on being in debt.
So that's the vision in a nutshell. It's a big one. For our last section, let's take a look at their official mission and, more importantly, the roadmap for how they actually plan to pull all this off.
The rollout is planned in 3 distinct stages. Stage 1 is supposed to be a private chat app, which they're estimating for early 2026. After that comes the ENTIFY card, that hardware wallet, to get the network secured with real users. And then, the final piece of the puzzle is the release of the ENTIFY phone itself, which is what would finally light up that independent mesh network.
And this final quote, I think, really gets to the absolute heart of the project. It just reframes the whole conversation, doesn't it? This isn't just a new, fancy way to authenticate yourself online. The stated goal is so much bigger than that. It's about providing the tools for complete personal autonomy. So where does that leave us? What are we supposed to make of all this? Is ENTIFY a realistic blueprint for digital freedom? Or is it a technically impossible dream? The ambition here is just off the charts. You can't deny that. But whether a project this massive can actually overcome all the technical and social hurdles to become a reality, well, that is the great unanswered question, isn't it?